Hi, fifth grade. Welcome back. Today, I figured since it is our last day reading our book, Belle, Teal, I figured I would read outside. It's a gorgeous day. If it does get a little bright on the camera, that's because the sun is shining down on me. Okay, today is it. I am going to try to read all three chapters, but if the time starts to get a little bit longer, I'm going to stop and I will read again on another YouTube video. Okay, if you could please open up your books to page 189, chapter 19, please follow along. I do not know it then, but that is the last time I will ever see Little Boss. After school that day, I sit with my secret for as long as I can stand it, which is until after dinner. By then, I am bursting and decide it will be okay to talk with Mama or Gran, but Mama is off studying for her secretarial exams, and I do not know how late she'll come home. And Gran, well, she goes into her room to get ready for bed and comes out a few minutes later in another entire outfit. Gran, you're not going to sleep in that dress, are you? I say to her. And Gran, she looks so confused that I feel something break inside me. It is not the night. It is not the night to talk to Gran. So I find my journal under my bed and turn to writing in it again. I scribble down all my thoughts about Little Boss and Big Boss and Daryl, and this fall I am so thankful that tomorrow the truth will be told and everyone will know who did what, and that Daryl was just a kid sitting at home visiting with Reverend Waltz. The funny thing though is that I keep waiting to get the glorious feeling about all this truth, but it doesn't happen. I fall asleep with a small empty ache in my chest. Mama is still asleep when I wake up the next morning. She has left me a note saying she didn't come home until after midnight last night and that she's going to take today off from the Are You Sleepin' in order to study some more. I am glad about all that I am glad about all the studying, but that ache in my chest is growing, and I really want to talk to Mama or to some adult. Maybe I can talk to Miss Casey after Little Boss does. On the school bus that morning, Clarice just chatters and chatters about Christmas. I try to listen, but finally I have to tell her that I have a little headache. And then Clarice quiets down, but she is hurt. I feel bad, but I have to focus in on Little Boss. He does not come to school, though. Right away, I am worried. Oh boy, Big Boss in his temper? He would be so mad if Little Boss said he wanted to tell the truth about Saturday. Then I think, what if Little Boss ended up going straight to the police all by himself and now Big Boss is in jail? After all, Big Boss lied to the police. My mind is a whirl. If Big Boss is in jail, where is Little Boss? I try to concentrate on other things. It is a busy day. We have a spelling quiz and we have to work on a Christmas compositions in that afternoon and we have another rehearsal. At the end of the day, I ask Miss Casey if she knows where Little Boss is and she says no. And I see something worried in her eyes. That night, I can't stop thinking about Little Boss. I have a very bad feeling. I wait and wait for Mama to come home, my eyes following Gran as she wanders around the kitchen in her summer nightie, humming Jukebox Saturday Night, and later saying that this is the coldest summer she can ever recall. To my relief, Mama comes home just after 9 o'clock. She has not even sat down yet when I say, Mama, I have to talk to you. It's important. Then I surprise us both by bursting into tears. Mama, she puts her arms around me and holds me on tight until I calm down enough to talk. Then I say, I know the truth about Little Boss and Daryl, and I tell her what Little Boss told me, but he didn't come to school today, I add, and I don't know why. I should never have told him he had to tell Miss Casey the truth. I knew a new thought occurs to me. Maybe he ran away. Precious, whatever has happened, it isn't your fault. Mama searches through her pocketbook for a cigarette, but gives up before she finds one. She sits us down on the couch, leans back, and puts her feet on a table with Gran, never used to allow us to do. Nothing you did was wrong, she says. You had to give Little Boss a chance to deal with this in his own way. Someone, someone does have to tell the truth, though, but it does not have to be you or Little Boss. I will talk to Miss Casey tomorrow, okay? I nod. When? On my lunch break. I'll drive over to your school, okay? On Friday morning, I get on the bus trying to feel hopeful. Just because Little Boss missed school yesterday doesn't mean he won't be there today. I settle next to Clarice and am staring out the window. Then Chase and Verdon invade my thoughts. Guess what, says Chase. I am tired of these games. Just tell me, I said. We went over to Little Boss's yesterday and no one was there. So? He means no one lives there anymore, says Vernon. What? I exclaim, and Clarice looks up from the book she is reading. It's all empty, the house, says Chase. Their stuff is gone. They moved on, adds Vernon. I think of a million questions, but I can't ask them because I am still the only one of us who knows Little Boss's story. The morning I look up the classroom clock at least 1 million times. Mama's lunch break at the Are You Sleepin' begins at noon sharp. I figure Mama can be at school by 12:10 if she leaves work immediately. Chaz and Vernon haven't wasted any time spreading the news about Little Boss around school. So Miss Casey heard it the second Miss Casey heard it the second she stepped into the classroom, and right away she disappeared down the hall, probably to talk to Mr. Walter, but she won't know the full story until Mama arrives, which is at 12:13. I am sitting in the cafeteria eating lunch with Clarice and Darrow, but mostly I am keeping an eye on the hallway. At exactly 12:13, I see Mama enter Coker Creek Elementary carrying her red pocketbook, which is her good one, and wearing her fancy coat over the Adele uniform. She heads up the school office. I don't know exactly what happens after that, and I don't care too much, just as long as the grown-ups take care of everything. What I do know is that at the end of the day, Miss Casey, looking pale and very, very tired, tells us what we have already heard, which is that Little Boss won't be a part of our class anymore. She says that we will miss him and adds that we will have to find ourselves a new king for the pageant, which is how Trey Bieber, the shepherd, becomes a permanent king. It is not until sometime the following week, though, that Miss Casey moves Little Boss's desk out of our room. One day it is there, the next day it is not. Chapter 20. When I wake up on Saturday, the day after Mama comes to school, I feel limp and exhausted, like I've had the flu. Just for now, just for right now, I can't think about white people hating colored people and fathers who shouldn't be fathers and boys with bruises. I do think about one thing, though, that I did right when I told Little Boss to tell Miss Casey the truth. Mama reminds me about that time and time again over the weekend, and she takes a whole afternoon off from her studying so she and I, just the two of us, can have lunch at the counter of Sherman's and then look for Christmas presents for Gran. On Monday, Daryl gives me a glorious news. He says the police went to the Big Head's house on Saturday, and told them they got a new, he says the police went, Lily, sorry you guys, I have to get Lily. Lily, come here, Lily. Come here, girl. Come here, Lily. Sorry, boys and girls, she is rolling in the dirt, and I don't want her to get the house dirty, so I have to get her. I'll show you her after we read. Okay. He says the police went to the house on Saturday and told them they got word that Big Boss had made up the story about Zero. They are white policemen and they don't apologize to the Craigs, but they let them know he is off the hook. And so at school, we get on with things. The news about Daryl spreads quickly. We keep up with our rehearsals, and Trey does a fine job as our new king. Also, we get our costumes in order, except for Vanessa, who insists on those pink ballet slippers as her shepherd shoes. On Friday, before Christmas, Mama comes home with an early gift for us. I have received my secretarial certificate, she says. She holds it aloft for Gran and me to see, and now I am looking for a job in Mechanismville. I believe I will find one by the new year. First thing, once I get a job, I am going to pay back the school account. I look up from where I am sitting on the floor in front of the fireplace. Are you really going to get a job in an office, Mama? I imagine Mama going to work wearing nylons and skirts and blouses and with ties at the neck. She will sit behind a desk with a typewriter, a plant on it, working for her boss that calls her Mrs. Harper, only he pronounces it like Ms. Harper. But that's okay. Mama will be such a good secretary that her boss, he will constantly say, Miss Harper, what did I ever do without you? Mama's beginning to seem like a character in City Lights. That's what I'm looking for, Mama replies. And you'll only have to work at one job and you'll be home for dinner every night. I hope so, precious. I feel so joyful that I leap to my feet and run into the kitchen where I turn on the radio full blast and twirl the dial around till I find Christmas carols, and then me and Gran and Mama sing along with them for the rest of the evening. Christmas keeps us all so busy that before I know it, it's the last day of school before vacation, the day of the pageant and the program. I wake up that morning the way I have waked up for I don't know how many mornings now, which is thinking about Little Boss. I wonder where he is and Big Boss are, how Little Boss's foot is healing, if Little Boss is already enrolled in a new school somewhere, or maybe Little Boss and his daddy are on the run from the police. I feel my heart start to pound, so I play the trick I have taught myself. I pretend my mind is a fairy tale, and I tell those thoughts that now I have to banish them, and poof, away they go. Except that they always seem to sneak back The next morning, I am enjoying a nice little rest in the warm bed when I catch sight of my Mary costume draped over the back of the chair, and suddenly I am full awake. I dress in a hurry and rush into the kitchen. I decide I had better eat a good big breakfast because I won't be able to eat again until after the pageant, and it will not do for Mary's stomach to grumble on stage. I am eating scrambled eggs and biscuits when I hear the grinding of gears and know that Burnett is coaxing the bus up our hill. Uh-oh, I say. The Mary costume is waiting in the bag by the door, but the fruitcakes, they are still in the pantry. What's wrong? Asks Gran. The bus is here and I haven't packed up the fruitcakes yet. The ones for the school program. Don't worry, honey, says Gran. Your mama and I will bring them when with us this afternoon. Mama has taken another day off for work so she can go to the program. I consider waking her up to tell her about the fruitcakes because I don't trust Gran an inch. But I don't want to embarrass Gran, so a few minutes later I am running on the bus, the bag with my costume in one hand, the fingers of my other hand crossed tightly. "Where's the fruitcakes?" is the first thing Clarice says as I slid into our seat. I make a face. I was late. I didn't have time to get them. Gran said she and Mama will bring them this afternoon. Clarice raises her eyebrows at me. I think she is going to say something about how it isn't wise to trust Gran with such a task. Instead, she says, "I wonder what Vanessa is up to." I glance at the front of a bus. HRH Vanessa is sitting there with her legs crossed, very prissy. I realize she didn't oink or smirk or hum the song about the clapets as I passed by. She barely even looked at me, and now she is just staring at the back of Burnett's head. That morning, Miss Casey tries to get us to concentrate on our studies, but of course we can't. At sorry. At last, she decides that one final pageant rehearsal might count on some sort of social studies lesson. So we gather up our costumes and head for the auditorium. A few minutes later, our costumes on, I find myself standing next to Vanessa, who has been unusually quiet all morning. I am about to edge on over to Clarice when I decide it won't kill me to be nice to Vanessa for once. After all, this is not a very good day for her. What with her wanting to be Mary and the part going to me and all, and now she has to play a shepherd with, and everyone has been teasing her about the ballet slippers. So I say, trying my hardest to forget about all the fights. "Your mother hemmed your costume perfect, just like you said she would." Vanessa nods and turns away. How rude, I tell myself. HRH doesn't matter, and I am not going to let her ruin this day for me. I turn my attention to hoping Gran remembers to bring the fruitcakes to school. Around 11 o'clock, it begins to snow. I love snow, but now I think, please, please let the program not be canceled. Don't let the program be canceled. Not what I'm going to play Mary. But an hour later, our guests begin to arrive, and Miss Casey, sounding as excited as I feel, announces that it is time to go back to the auditorium. "Remember your costume," she calls as we line up the door. Miss Casey leads us single file through the hall and into the auditorium. All us Coca Creek students are going to sit in the front rows whenever we are not on stage. Clarice and Zero and me grab three seats together. We turn around and look behind us, and the parents and grandparents and brothers and sisters and all our special guests. "My parents are here," says Daryl, craning his neck back. They're sitting with Winnie and Terrence's parents and Mr. Walter. My excitement is growing, especially when I spot Ma and Gran, and Ma holds a bag up high to let me know she has the fruitcakes. I smile. I am so happy Mama is here. She told Mr. Titus she had to have another day off, and she wouldn't miss this for the world. The auditorium is noisier than 100 school buses full of kids. Everyone is talking and laughing. The adults are calling Merry Christmas to each other. The kids are talking about Santa and the presents and choir practice. Just when I think I can't wait another second or I will explode, Mrs. Portman, our music teacher, steps onto stage and welcomes our guests to the Christmas program. The auditorium is dim, the snow falling outside, the tall windows in the room is hushed except for little rustlings and scrapplings and here and there a cough. An enormous wreath with a red ribbon is hanging at the back of the auditorium, and a decorated tree is standing at one end of the stage. It is like all of a sudden I am wrapped in Christmas. Fifth grade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video just so that it doesn't run out on YouTube. And then I want you to click on the next link, and then you will hear me read the rest of this chapter and the next one. And then I will show you Lily. Okay? I'll see you in just about a minute.